Hello viewers, for DIYers here with another video for everyone. In this breakout video here, I'll be showing you how to replace the harmonic balancer on a BMW 335d with the M57 diesel. A similar procedure may also apply to other vehicles of the same generation, such as the X5 and 5 series. This is a 2010 model. A harmonic balancer is a common failure point on these engines. The rubber damper will fatigue with age and use. This in turn will cause cracking and make the rubber and steel portions separate. Up until the failure point, you may notice excessive engine vibrations, visual cracking in the rubber damper. If it fails, you will lose all belt accessory functions on your vehicle. The center portion will just spin, not allowing the belts to rotate. In order to inspect your harmonic balancer, due to the extremely tight space, it can be very hard to see, so I would highly recommend using a borescope for an inspection. For this, I'm using my Tesla NTS 700 inspection camera. It has a triple lens to maximize viewing angles, 7-inch screen, is waterproof, and has 16.5 feet of reach. A link to this will be included in the video description, as well as a coupon code for their website. It's best to have the car on ramps, which I already have done. First is removing the 3 T20 screws for the intake duct at the front of the engine bay. Remove the upper intake duct. This will make it easier to remove the other tube. To remove the other tube, use a long screwdriver and push in the 2 tabs on each side. Here you can see the one. Then pull the tube from its location. The engine cover will need to be disconnected but not fully removed. Remove the exposed 5mm Allen head bolts on the top of the cover. We only need to lift up the cover. You'll need to unclip the wire at the rear of the engine bay, just under the plastic cowl, to access the rear 2 fasteners. Use a standard screwdriver to disconnect the throttle plate electrical connector. Then, using a standard screwdriver again, unclip that boost tube, pull it back slightly, push the clip back down to clear the one line, and then fully remove. I stuck paper towel in the intake so no debris makes its way inside the engine. Remove the 1 T25 fastener at the passenger side of the engine bay. This is for the electric cooling fan. You'll also need to disconnect the clips of the rubber hose that goes across. There is also another rubber hose on the far right that needs to be disconnected too. Use a standard screwdriver to remove the clip. Remove the electrical plug on the driver's side. There are 2 tabs that need to be depressed. One you can access with your finger, the other one you'll need a standard screwdriver. Then pull apart. Going underneath the car, looking through the opening in the belly pan on the driver's side, remove the 1 T25 fastener using an extension. Use a long standard screwdriver to disconnect the clip on the driver's side. Push the tang towards the engine. Bend the boost hose off to one side and then remove the electric fan. This isn't overly easy, it's an extremely tight fit, and you'll need to wiggle it out. I found it does help directing the assembly over to the passenger side slightly when removing to clear the components on the driver's side. I installed a bypass switch for the solenoid so I can bump the engine over. The key is not in the car, and the other side is connected to the positive boost point under the hood. A borescope was handy for this when hooking up the alligator clip. I'm reusing my stretch belt as I don't have a replacement yet. I wrapped a rag around the belt, then pulled it towards the front of the car as I turned the engine over. If you have a new belt, then cut off the old belt using side cutters. As for the serpentine belt, use a 24mm socket with a ratchet, then rotate the tensioner pulley counterclockwise and remove the belt. I'll have a drawing further on in the video to show you the routing of that belt. Using a punch about 1/4 inch in diameter to lock the flywheel into place, there is a hole below the starter going into the bell housing area. BMW does have a special tool for this, however it can be done without it. I stuck a borescope in the engine block lock hole, then turned the engine over with the bypass switch. The engine can be turned over with a ratchet if you have a special tool for the crank. Once you have the hole lined up with the flywheel, then stick a punch in the hole to hold everything into place. Using an E12 torx socket, remove the 4 harmonic balancer bolts. Carefully remove the harmonic balancer. It's heavy, so don't drop it in the engine bay and risk damaging something. I opted for an aftermarket replacement option instead of OEM. From what I've read online, it's supposed to be more durable than the factory version. This is just based on my information that I found, so time will tell on my own experiences. New bolts are required for the harmonic balancer. The one I purchased came with new socket head bolts. These are 8mm. Snug them into place first in a crisscross pattern to ensure it's seated and fully in place. With the engine still locked into place, the torque specifications for these bolts are 30 foot-pounds or 40 Nm plus 120 degrees. Again, torque these in a crisscross pattern. A mirror may be needed for this. Now remove the punch which locked the flywheel into place. It's best to remove this sooner than later. While the belt is off, now is a good time to check your idler and tensioner pulleys to ensure they are in good operating condition. I can feel some dryness in my one pulley, so a new replacement has been ordered along with a new serpentine belt as well as a stretch belt. Install the serpentine belt, route it around the ridged pulleys first, and then try to install it on the smooth pulley last when the tensioner is pulled back. Here's a drawing of the belt route. There is a special tool to install the stretch belt, however this can be done without it. Again, I have the solenoid bypass switch installed. The belt is fully routed around the AC pulley. Then route it as far as possible around the crank pulley. Don't use your fingers, use a screwdriver or something similar instead to hold it into place. Then turn the engine over. Make sure the belt is aligned with each of the pulley ribs. Next is installing the electric fan. This does take some patience to get it properly back into place. You'll need to go under the car to help direct it in as well. Once it's in place, reinstall the fasteners up at the top and down below. Clip the two hoses into place in the electric fan assembly and finally plug in the electrical connector. Remove the paper towel in the intake, then clip the boost pipe back into place. Plug in the electrical connector for the throttle body butterfly. Push the engine cover back into place and then tighten down all those fasteners. Reinstall the wire that goes across the engine bay by the windshield cowl. Clip the air duct back into place. Then install those 3 fasteners. Again, before starting the car, make sure the punch for the lock on the flywheel has been removed. Once done, start the engine and do a visual inspection, ensuring everything is good. New videos released every week on my channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, it's a huge help to me, and leave a comment below if you found this tutorial helpful. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to also hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.